So our relationship, she's Queen Esther. Okay, she does this for a lot of people. I just don't think a lot of people recognize she's doing this for them, whereas I actually can see what she's doing. And so Queen Esther saves Israel with intercession, like a lawyer, okay, or like Moses did that. So Queen Esther intercession saves the nation with defense, and so she was like my lawyer because I had a prosecutor named that had Leah in the etymology of his surname, and Leah means meadow. And then that same day, though, I had another case in another county where the defense attorney was named Sarah, which Sarah means princess. So anyway, so yeah, it's a song about more about the Deborah version of the queen bee. So Meadow, she's the queen bee, humble little bumblebee. She could have been a good congresswoman at the age of 12. And just like checkers kinged me, undeserving as one could be, sent me catapulting into heaven from pits of hell. She brought me to Mount Zion, the heavenly city, down a road paved with gold to a palace of a king. She said, Lord, I beseech thee, take away his misery. I found this boy rotting in the darkest pits of hell. Meadow, she's the queen bee, humble little bumblebee, chillin' with a villain in a dark, depressing cell. She cured me of my leprosy, most of it, at least I think. I think the next president should be the pumpkin queen, the dairy queen, and my exorcist as well. Okay, the pauses in between it, I kind of, I don't have it memorized, and it's not finished, but, religious hymns, they kind of come to mind. I usually don't write them down. They're usually not complete, but you go for a walk. Sometimes you start singing. St. Francis of Assisi would go for walks, and these hymns would come to mind. He would sing to Brother Sun and Sister Moon, and so she actually, well, the jade stone that the Japanese emperors receive actually is the sun and the moon. So I sometimes wonder, because I called the Statue of Liberty Jade. I wrote down, I don't think I ever connected that to her. I don't think I knew her middle name at the time, but I said Amaterasu, the sun divinity that the Japanese emperors believe that the male deities wanted to be greater than the female, or they wanted to be greater than them. They wanted this female. Nobody knows that. Nobody in the religion declares, like, is she a divinity, or is she like a spirit or an angel, or was she like an incarnation of a Homo sapien? No, but nobody really knows. But what they know is that she handed 3 items to the Japanese emperor: the jade stone, the circular mirror that she gazed into, and her reflection in the mirror caused the mirror to become haunted. Okay, and that's like a really special. So circular mirrors became like the most sacred relic in Shinto. Okay. And a very strange day, my spider got out of this ceiling, and I had this Israeli flag, and I felt like I was supposed to turn my cage into a kind of Ark of the Covenant type of thing, a little box where Meadow's Ark, it doesn't look like the Ark of the Old Covenant, but it, like, you put the Israeli flag over the cage, and so it looks like it's an Israeli flag with a box, a dwelling place, so kind of in honor of Meadow. And then the next day, I find this interesting paper. It's kind of weird. It's got her face next to this, next to multiple pictures, but one of them happened, I didn't know why, but it was next to this image of Rudolf Höss that I didn't know I ever printed out an image of him. He was a Polish German war criminal, okay, and a very bad one at that, probably, but at the same time, he says some interesting things, and I wonder if maybe the reason I printed out her picture next to that was because I thought maybe she was, they became friends afterwards, because he repented of what he did. He wrote a book about it. He said, I never experienced love until after I was in prison and tried as a war criminal, and he converted, became a religious man. He showed signs, I guess, of repentance. No one ever really knows for sure, but I mean, it is true that some of those people are recruited at a very young age. They're brainwashed, and they're told there can be no softness. You have to be hardcore. You cannot have compassion. And so some of those Japanese soldiers that were committing those war crimes, they were in a military where those, as a young child, you are, either writing home letters to their parents saying they can't taste their rice because their mouths are so bloody, and they're nearly beaten to death for burning the toast, and they're dying, dropping dead. People are dropping dead during basic training, because that was how they trained the Japanese to be some of the most sadistic war criminals of that war, is because of how badly they were abusing them at a very young age to get them to act that way. And I know if you treat a dog with love, and you're petting the dog, and you're holding the dog, and all that stuff, that the dog will turn out way different, as opposed to a dog you're training for a dog you're training for a dog fight you're going to treat that dog really bad. You're going to abuse that dog. It's going to turn into a very mean dog, and you might just have to, it might be irreversible. If you raise a dog always beating it and never loving it, like Old Yeller, you just got to take it out and shoot it sometime. You can't help the dog. So, human beings to a certain extent can be helped, and Meadow has helped me, and I don't always know in relationships with God, in relationships with spirits, and you don't always know, okay? But some very interesting things happen, okay? And so that was interesting, because the next morning I went to the Capitol Hill, though, and after I made that Ark of the Covenant, or what I called the Ark of the Covenant, if that's what you want to call it, out of that spider cage, because I had taped up that little hole in the ceiling, and the spider somehow got out, a red-legged tarantula. And